ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, social media hype man, aka Terrance A. Collins Jr., aka Mr. Inspired Mind. I'm here with a world class mind. I want to welcome you guys to an exclusive episode of Midweek Madness. All right, and the big question people have is, they say, if I am where I am based on my thoughts, actions, and decisions of the past, what about those things that I'm powerless over? And we definitely are going to answer that question for you today. All right, it's not going to be as long as a Midnight Madness with DMT episode, but we're definitely going to make sure we provide for you quality. And the lady I have on the line with me, like I said, she's absolutely class. Like, man, if you guys ever watched cartoons growing up, I hope you guys seen the X-Men saga. Um, I've had the Juggernaut, been on Hangouts with the Juggernaut. This lady right here, all right, the most powerful mutant of all time was a lady by the name of Jean Grey, right? And Jean Grey just had these super phenomenal powers. But when she turned into her other state, the Phoenix, woo, most powerful, most most powerful mutant to ever exist. And the lady I have online with me tonight is Jean Grey in all her forms combined times 1,000. Jamie Lynn. And I'm gonna actually let her hop on and give you guys some nuggets on the difference between volunteer and life.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. And you were cutting in and out towards the end, but basically, I guess we can talk today about what was the topic today, or anything in particular, or just basically talking about success, motivation, and kind of mindset?
Victim versus volunteer mentality.
Victim versus volunteer mentality. Okay, well, basically the thing is that anything in life is a choice. And whenever we get to a point to where we're in an emotion that feels so consuming and so deep, it's something that we have a choice to overcome, or we can stay in it. When we stay in it, we choose to be a victim. We choose to be victimized. We choose to be at that point to where what's happening to us is more important and or more powerful than who we truly are. And so when we surrender our power, we surrender all options and all choices to supersede what's going on, or to even overcome what's going on. So it's a choice. You can either be a victim or a victor. And that's really what it is, because when you choose to surrender, when you choose to stay in that moment, when you choose to be at that point to where something is becoming the illusion of power, or the illusion of control, or the illusion of something larger than you, you give your power away. You voluntarily give that power away, and you've chosen to be a victim. So I always tell people, are you going to be a victor or a victim? Because victory is something that is not necessarily a choice as much as a state of being. Whenever you decide to be victorious, whenever you start, to radiate victory, you're going to be at that point to where that's all you're going to attract. And all the victim mentalities will try to basically get you to a point to where you are influenced by them, or even, the whole lady in the red dress, the distractions, things of that nature will always appear. And that's basically the universe saying, are you sure? Are you sure you want to go past this? And once you break through that, there's really nothing that can stop you. You become limitless and become absolutely amazingly powerful in a way that you can literally feel how you have set into motion things that just seem to appear in your reality. So it's always a choice, in any situation. And there's going to be hard times. Hard times are there to show us how beautiful the things that we are creating are becoming.
So that was absolutely fantabulous and phenomenal. Um, Man, I love that you said, victim, and you attach choice to it, or, victor. And, man, that's absolutely powerful right there, because it all comes down to choice. I am where I am today. I have to take 100% of accountability on that. Or I'm never going to be happy in life. I'm never going to have anything in life. I don't have any power, and that's no way to live. It's simply that's not living. And that comes back to that whole question of not is there life after death, but do people truly live before they die? And if I don't have any power, then I'm at the will of everybody else. I'm at the will of whatever else happens. Like if I'm not choosing to accept claim power for myself, then I'm accepting the right to never be able to complain about anything that goes on in my life ever in life. And for me, I like victim or volunteer because people are confused. Like, no, I'm a victim. This person did this to me. This person did that to me. Well, I had text coming to me in the mail, and my neighbor took my mailbox. Right? Now he has some psychological issues going on, all that. It's like, well, Terrance, you're clearly a victim in that. Nobody likes being a victim. A relationship in which you got absolutely screwed over. Yeah, Terrence, you're definitely a victim in that. But here's the thing: is that in 2014, I've been absolutely screwed over repeatedly, and by people, places, and things, repeatedly on repeat. But I'm not a victim. I freaking volunteered for that. Why? Nobody told me to choose to live where I live. Nobody told me, to make friends or not make friends with the people I chose to make friends with or not make friends with. Nobody, put a gun in my head and told me to commit to my relationship. Nobody forced me to do that. If I was walking down the street and out of nowhere somebody comes out and with a weapon and they rob me, okay, now I'm a victim. All right, now I'm a victim. And if it was at some weird hour in the morning, well, guess what? I've still volunteered to go on a walk. I wasn't powerless. When I figure out what I could have done differently, I know what to do differently as I move forward. The difference between world class and everybody else, and the biggest difference between them and the middle class is, middle class will embrace something that they volunteered for, and they like to deflect blame. They like to deflect credit. There's inconsistencies with accountability and acceptance. Um, with the middle class, and I'm not necessarily talking about where you are financially, but mindset wise. Um, they like to deflect and give credit elsewhere and embrace being the victim. And we took a loss and all of that. Um, World class, they don't necessarily believe taking losses. They don't give anybody else credit for their problems. The same way you don't hear Donald Trump giving everybody you blame for your problems. He doesn't give them all the credit for his success either. It's an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow if I so choose to. Because if I change my state of mind, then my state completely starts to change. If you are going to school and you're studying, taking the course requirements to be an engineer, then you're not going to get a political science degree. All right, so if you keep thinking like an engineer, you're not going to get a political science degree. But when you start to think like a person who has a political science degree, and you start doing those things that they do, you start taking political science classes and courses, and now you're able to be in a position to get that political science degree. And life works no different, and it works no different. Um, and Jamie can tell you, because I'm pretty much an open book with her. Like I've got a lot of free stuff lately, a lot of blessings lately. A lot of things that I didn't go and ask for. A lot of great things came. And what happened shortly before that was a mindset shift in which I realized that I had a lot of inconsistency. And I had to stand up and say, I've been, Um, Deep down, I wanted to be left on medical bed, and I volunteered for that madness. I volunteered for it, and I can accept that. And I know my worth. I know who I am, and I'm not volunteering for that anymore. And we don't get what we want. We actually attract what we are. They call us human beings, so we need to start being something else if we want something else. And it starts by being in that mindset of being something else. And then what starts to happen is it starts to come and happen, for us. And if I'm being a victim, the only thing I'm going to keep getting out of life is more situations in which I can say I was a victim. More heartache, just more obstacles, more roadblocks, more negativity and adversity. But as soon as we start being a volunteer, and we can also start being that person who volunteers for the positive, volunteers for volunteers to reap that new. And what we start to get is we start to get those things, those people, places, things, and situations in our life that allow us to be on that next level. But we still have to be willing to take that action and make that decision. So that's what I got. I'll pass it back over to Jamie. I know she's probably got something else she wants to start elaborate on.
Yeah, I mean, well, I really love that you were saying that, 1000% accountability and being at that point to where you chose that, because that's the power of the whole mistake or any mistakes that ever anybody will make, is realizing that this is something that was a wrong turn. This is something that was a vibrational sense that we created at a point to where we thought we were getting what we wanted. And that's the thing. We don't ever get what we want. We get exactly what we ask for. Not what we're wanting, but what we're asking for. And whenever we ask for something, it's a vibrational sense. It's nothing that we could ever say out of our mouth. It's what we radiate. Like you said, that state of being. That state of being is constantly asking. And is constantly at that point of where it's needing and acquiring, but it's also giving as much as it's receiving. And so that balance is something that within all of us, that a lot of people get to a point to where they spend hundreds of thousands and billions of dollars, and even, getting to a point to where they have so much time consumed by that balance, because that balance is what everything is all about. Because once you get to a balance of receiving and giving and a point to where it's absolutely effortless, you'll realize that what you're getting is exactly what you're asking for. It's not what you want, because a lot of us don't know what we want. We really think we know what we want, but we don't really know what we need. And what we need is what we'll always ask for. Our soul always knows what we need. Our soul's always going to ask for what we will always take as our highest good or our most absolutely positive, progressive moment in any situation. Even if it's the down in the dump situation, we'll always reach for, strive for, and absolutely crave that positive, pure positive light. So that's what we're always asking for. And so the universe is always going to respond to that. Even the people that we come across, the people that we meet, and just like you were saying, being at that point of where you're in a position of feeling that there's a victim mentality or there's a victimizing state, that's something that we started to ask for, because we started to believe what the whole world was showing around us as an illusion of fear or an illusion of inadequacy or an illusion of all these things that we start to let in. And I mean, it happened to me, last month with sponsorships and things of that nature. I created a situation in which I was trying so hard to basically fight against what I was truly asking for and trying to create what I thought I wanted. And it happens. It backfires every single time, because on a soul sense, we know what we want, but we are always given what we need.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And man, we can take this to so many multiple levels. We can take it to a world history. We can take it to religion. We can stick with law of attraction. For me, those of you who know me or you've seen some of my videos, you've had the pleasure to be able to experience me in person. I like the story of David and Goliath. All right. See, David was the lowest man on the totem pole. He had to take care of the sheep, and he had to get to the spot to deliver a message. And all he did was he got to the spot. David proclaimed that he wanted more out of life. And whenever we say something, what happens is Most of the adversity and what we're talking about, we say we create it. When we say something, the universe will test us on it to see if we're being it. All right. And when we say something, we need to be ready to be that person who is about what they said that they were about. And the reason being is predict everything we say to that until we're ready to start being it. It's that test. All right. Um. Now, so David proclaimed he wanted to be more, and all he did was he got up one morning, was told he had to go deliver a message. He gets to the spot, and he could have been like everybody else. Oh my gosh, they got Goliath, man, and been victim. Been a victim for the rest of his life. His quality of life wouldn't have changed. People who had more to lose than him were already there. So just because you go seek advice from somebody who has more to lose than you doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Because what you want isn't always what they want. What you cannot accept, they might be able to. And he gets to the battlefield, there's thousands of people there, not willing to take action, ready to be a victim. If he would have got killed by if he would have got killed by Goliath, David couldn't have said he was a victim. He volunteered for it. And what he got when he stepped up and was truly being the person that took from the past the test based on what he proclaimed, he inherited his dream life. He inherited a life beyond his dreams. All right, he inherited the richest kingdom on the planet at that point in time. Gandhi, Gandhi could have just accepted life as it was and been a victim, and instead he said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." As a member of a free country, a free society, even though that's not what was going on around him. That's not what the people, places, and things around him were doing. That's who he became, and it came to him because he was being it. It calls human thinkers, wonder, manifestation projects, hypotheses, action takers, doers. They call us human beings. The key is in being it. Thus, be the change you wish to see in the world. He became that change that he wished to see in the world, and that change happened for him and his people. All right, which is absolutely, absolutely crazy. Um, Dr. King, that man went places that people of certain pigmentation weren't allowed to go. His vision was seeing people of certain pigmentation and people of any pigmentation allowed to be at those places. So he became a person who saw himself being in those places, and situation presented himself as opportunity for him to go. It didn't matter how many cops they had, how many KKK members were there, how many weapons people had. It did not matter. He became that person who was supposed to be sitting at that counter, and he sat at that counter. He became that person that's supposed to be able to walk across this bridge, and he walked across that bridge. He became a person that is allowed to stand on the podium in the capital of the richest land in the world and give a speech. He became that person. It wasn't legal. He became that person, and it happened. Don't tell me the situations that victimize you today are more adverse than what David went through, than what Doc King. Don't tell me that. You're talking about people who literally, the situations they're worried about could kill them at any moment in time. At any moment in time. The things that you are complaining about are not here to kill you. So if they can stop being a victim and they can stop volunteering for adversity and start being a person who is the change that they wish to see in the world, why can't you? Why can't you? There's nothing holding any of us back but ourselves. Any Some situations are a little bit tougher to overcome than others, but you know what? At the end of the day, there's nothing that I've went through that is at the same level or magnitude as what Gandhi went through or Dr. King went through. Nothing. So it doesn't matter how long it takes, how hard it looks, it doesn't matter. I already know that it's possible. If I look at a situation and I say impossible, what I'm really telling the universe is I'm possible. I'm possible. So whether I accept the challenge or I say it is impossible, the thing is I'm telling the universe is that I'm going to be tested. And if I don't pass that test, I'm going to get more adversity that I created for myself. I'm not a victim. I volunteered for that because I couldn't be a person of my words. So, it doesn't matter which end of the spectrum you want to go on, whether you think it's possible or you think it's not possible. When I say impossible, I'm saying I'm possible. And a lot of times, people, when they get frustrated, they talk about other people's responsibilities. And you control people's responsibilities. See, here's the thing, that is my ability to respond. So theoretically, as I continue in life, my responsibility increases because I become a much better person at being able to respond to life and its adversities. Theoretically, that's not how it always works. And so I can't speak about where you at. For me, it really had to become being able to separate emotions from responses. Somebody calls me out of my name, that's not a feeling, first off. So somebody hurt my feelings, well, that's something that the law and the authorities can get involved in. But since it's not physical, it's either mental or it's emotional, and I can control my responses to both. I can learn and choose to think differently. I can act my way into the right. Emotions have and problem that is number one problem. Everybody wants to be somebody different than who they are. People have a hard time in accepting where they are and who they are, right? And this is on a deeper level than what you're probably thinking. And when I say where they are and who they are, what I mean is if my feelings get hurt, do I want to get even? Do I want to mask that up? You know, do if I want to cry, do I fight crying? Because that's me not accepting who I am, which is a person with my feelings hurt, and that's not me accepting where I am. See, anger is not an emotion, it's a response. Nobody who's won the lottery has thrown the temper tantrum. Nobody who's gotten exactly what they wanted, how they wanted, when they wanted, was ever upset or pissed off. Therefore, if I'm angry, that means I didn't get what I want, or I'm scared I'm going to lose something of losing. And if we could all learn to fully embrace where we are when we're there, we can truly volunteer for greatness, stop being victims of adversity, and gain power and control like we never imagined in our lives. And I said we because I damn sure ain't perfect, you know? Now, when it comes to perfection, there's no such thing as a perfect, flawless anything. But when you make your definition of perfection being the best that it's possible to be, then perfection is truly obtainable. You can be your perfect you. I can be my perfect me. In order to do that, I have to learn to accept where I am when I'm there. Because when I fight it, all I'm doing into my situation, into my life, into my surroundings. And that's going to be much longer of a process than if I just accept that I didn't get what I wanted. And then I can ask myself, well, how much did I really want it? Can I get another one? Or can I want something else? Because if I change what I want, I can never have my feelings hurt. If I could always, I didn't get what I wanted, if I could learn to instantaneously change it to want it, it's still a situation, emotionally or mentally. Feelings is completely different. It's completely different. But I don't know too many people where they have a situation of people physically touching them on a regular basis in adverse manners that I could call a victim. Because I know I don't have that. And even if that were to happen, same thing applies. I would need to accept I am who I am, where I am, when I can want something else, I can those appropriate steps. Anything else she wants to add?
Basically, whenever you were saying, the victim versus volunteer is absolutely powerful, because the only difference between a victim and a volunteer is not necessarily the choice, but the emotional awareness of where you stand, like you were saying. And that's the only thing. And that's what everybody should take away from this today, is if you are not where you want to be, if you are not where you thought you were going to be, and if you are really, at this point, anything other than happy and joyous, there's fine-tuning to do. There's some regrouping to do. There's some readdressing to do. Stop thinking about what you want and start looking and feeling, being what you need, and everything will fall into place. Because the awareness is the only thing that holds us from that victim mentality and that victor mentality. So the volunteer means that you're aware of what's going on around you, you're aware of where you're coming from, and you realize and you see the mistake, so therefore you change it. I always tell people, almost every day whenever I deal with clients, I tell them that everything can be equated to one example in life, but what I do is I equate it to a train track. Whenever you have a train, no matter how much and how big this train is, it needs track. It needs that to go from point A to point B. So your thoughts are always those tracks. You're laying those tracks. Always, 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 always with those thoughts. So any way that you choose to lay those tracks with your thoughts, emotions are going to start gathering and having momentum, just like a train, barreling down that track. So it takes 1 second to change an emotion. It literally does. If your train's headed in the wrong direction, turn it around. That's all you have to do. And if it's hard, then turn it halfway around. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying until you get to a point to where it's completely faced the other direction, because the train can't go anywhere unless the tracks are laid. So those are your thoughts. Your thoughts are preceding and basically following what your emotional state is at this point in time. And they gain momentum. The more momentum that they gain, the harder it feels, which is an illusion, the harder it feels to turn it around. But it really truly takes 1 second. And that's it.
Definitely powerful. statement right there. Absolutely love you. Absolutely adore you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have today. Again, it's your boy Social Media Hype Man here to let you know that we're here to help you get from exactly where you are to exactly where you need to be, to exactly where you want to be, to exactly where you deserve to be in life. If you guys would like to connect with the fantastic and fabulous Jamie Lynn at the bottom of the video, you can see her social media connections. Feel free to reach out, connect with her on Facebook or TSU. We certainly wish that you guys have a blessed rest of your evening. Still a line from eating best of your life. All right. And you guys definitely stay up, be blessed. Remember to be great each and every single day because that is a choice that you can make.